Welcome to The New Normal. This is a series where we talk to people about how their lives have changed since we all went fully remote, how their jobs have changed, and honestly, just how they're doing. Stay tuned for more on our new normal. Hi, everybody, and welcome back to The New Normal. I'm super excited today, as I always am, to talk to this week's guest, Linh Tran. Linh, can you introduce yourself to our viewers and let them know a little bit about what you do and who you are?
Yeah. Hi, Shannon. Thanks for inviting me to this awesome series. I'm a UX manager on the experience design team in the product organization. So our team of designers and writers make sure that we are always keeping the users and customers first when we are creating new functionality. It's kind of like that old chestnut about, if a tree falls in the forest, doesn't make any sound if no one hears it. And it's like, it's the same for functionality. Like, no matter how powerful a piece of functionality is, if it's not intuitively usable or it's not something that people can find, where's the value in that? So really proud of the work my team's doing.
Awesome. So every time I do one of these interviews, I don't like to remember how many days we've been home, but it's been 56 or something? I think that was the count this morning. And if anyone's noticing, I have a different background, so don't be alarmed, but I'm still inside. Sort of how is your team doing? Like, how has your job changed going remote? I know you all were pretty comfortable with that type of work before. I feel like talking to folks in our product org has been, you guys are just generally more comfortable with being remote, but how has your job changed in the last 50 some odd days?
It's even been more than 50 some odd days because my daughter's school closed a week before we started. So it's like in the past 2-month period right now. I feel really lucky, and I think my team members also share this feeling that we work for a company where the idea of flexible schedules and remote work isn't totally new. Many of us were already working from home at least one day a week and working very productively. So we trust that we're all adults and we can get our work done. It's, honestly, it's 97% great, working remotely. You can roll out of bed just a few minutes later, wander over to wherever you've set up and be super productive all day long, not have to commute home. But there is that 3% where, everyone is experiencing it. So I try to make sure that my team knows that they never have to ask permission to take care of their families and themselves first. I try to make sure that they're not burning out because time goes by really fast when you're sitting on a couch by yourself doing work, and work just is always there, right? So for my team, everybody's been great. I just have to be a little conscious of feeling out how they are. I don't ask anymore how they're doing. I ask how they're coping because everyone's coping in different ways and things change on a day-to-day basis.
Yeah, and I think that kind of leads into my next question. So I think you're someone I really wanted to talk to about being a manager right now. And I think that that's, something I feel, and I manage a smaller team than you, but what has it been like being a manager right now? Sort of balancing being there for your team, emotionally, personally, honestly, with this lack of sort of barrier to their personal lives now, and then also trying to be there to coach them professionally. How has that sort of been for you?
I think that it really depends on the person. And I think that as a manager, I've always tried to tailor my management approach to the person themselves and where they are in their careers. I have people who came out of school or have, just worked at internships before they accepted a job as a designer here, who don't necessarily know the norms of working, where they felt like they had to ask me permission to take a day off or ask me permission to go to a doctor's appointment. I have people who have families and are on Slack at 2 a.m. writing messages because that's the only time that they can find time to do their actual work without teaching their kids at home. And so I try to be really mindful and pay attention to some of those signals by asking them in one-on-ones, like, oh, so I saw that you were on Slack at 2 a.m. doing this thing. Want to make sure, that you're all right and that, you're not being burnt out. I want to assure you that, the priorities are this and not necessarily that. Or if you need help in figuring out which meetings to go to and which meetings not to go to clear your schedule to get work done, I'm here and available to talk you through it. It's been, this process has made me so much more compassionate towards people in their different living situations. And, we all go through things differently. Some of the younger members don't have families, but they are far away from their actual family. And it's just themselves in their house with new pets, right? Or someone else is, experiencing the frustration of remote teaching. So you have to be really flexible and you have to tailor your approach to people.
Yeah, awesome. No, I totally see what you're saying. Most of these conversations have resulted in us talking about humanizing work. I think Steve Rococo is the one that said that in his interview. And I think that is what's happened here, right? Like we're all just humans that are working during a pandemic. So figuring out sort of how to navigate that, definitely. And I think my next question is sort of going to be how you are doing. So I think as a manager, a lot, you're focused so much on your team and how to make them as comfortable and productive as they can be. But how are you doing personally at home?
I think we chatted a little bit about the artificial line between work and home life when everybody's working in the same house. In my case, a 900 square foot house. But I'll tell this.
It sounds big to me in comparison to my apartment. I can imagine that other people that sounds small.
I get you. Like for instance, just last week, and it was partially my fault because I started a prank war with my daughter over the weekend. And I happened to be on a weekly managers meeting on the product org. And she decided that was a great time to throw my husband's boxers over my head. Just flicked it away, continued, hope that no one saw. But, that's the reality. That there is stuff going on all over the place outside of your virtual Zoom screen. And it requires a lot of trust, which is totally easy for me and my team members because we hire such exceptional people, as you know. Like, I trust they'll get their job done. I trust that they're, being as resourceful as possible and they're committed and they're giving, like 100% of themselves, that it makes it so much easier and more comical when things like that happen.
Totally. So if you were to give any advice to other managers out there about what you've kind of felt has been really effective for you, what would that advice be?
I think that I've learned a lot from watching how our executive leadership, especially our human resources leaders, communicate the kind of really measured, calm tone in the way that they're being both transparent and supportive, giving us the reassurance that we need to focus on things that we can actually control. That's what I aim towards. And that's, like a really good example to have as a manager.
Awesome. Well, Lynn, thank you so much for taking your time today. And to all of you out there, please like and subscribe once again if you didn't know that already. And we will see you on the next episode of The New Normal. Bye.
Thanks, Shannon.
I was really worried. So apparently someone's coming to do the septic, and I was like, they're going to come during this. I was like, that is definitely going to happen, but they are not. I heard someone like, it's so quiet here. We're at the end of a dirt road on a lake. So if anyone,
it sounds really idyllic. It's really nice.
It is nice. It is nice. Hold on, I'll show you. I'll take you on a walk. I don't know how much longer I'm going to get to be here. They might be coming home next weekend. So
you don't have to wear a mask, I guess, when you walk around.
No, there's no one around.
Oh my gosh, that doesn't seem small. Look at that. It's gorgeous. Is this New Hampshire or Vermont?
Yeah, New Hampshire, yeah.
Gorgeous.